Christmas morning, light up the tree, turn on the pretty ornaments, make some coffee, and get ready for the day. Wait, what's this? A gift under my tree? What could it be? Oh, that looks like an oscilloscope. Let's get that to the lab right away. So here it is, and this is exactly how it was shipped. That's a pretty poor shipping, UPS and Amazon. I hope it's together in one piece. Pardon me while I unpack my Christmas gift. So here it is. This is the C-Deck SDS 1102. 110 megahertz, 1 giga sample per second. 2-channel oscilloscope. I'm gonna tell you what, it weighs nothing. Absolutely nothing. Wonder if there's even a fan in it. So there's our IEC cable input. We have a USB, probably a host output. There's our feet. And here in our accessory package, what do we get? Instrucciones. These are 100 megahertz probes. Yeah. Don't say much. The manual for the scope is, I assume, on this CD. We get adjustment tool, color coding, and of course, look, we have yellow and blue, yellow and red, and there is no blue provided. I'll have to see if I have some blue. Probably do. So we get the 2 probes. These are the T5100. They're standard probes you get with all Chinesium stuff. We get a USB-A to A cable, and our country specific IEC cord. It's just a multi-voltage, yeah, 100 volt to 240 volt, 50-60 hertz. So, oh, that's a heavy duty thick cable there. Get that plugged in. Tell you what, for right now, let's set that guy down there like that. Get plugged in. How about that? That don't look too bad, does it? All right, let's turn her on. Okay. Very interesting. Let's go Utility. About. It does not say much there at all, does it? Configure. Display. Just. Backlight. I'm looking for a calibration. There we go, self-cal. Remove all probes, press self-cal, and wait. So we'll let it do its thing, and I'll be back. Okay, the self-calibration took just about 2 minutes. I'm looking through my collection of oscilloscope probe parts, and while I have plenty of those little insert rings, not a one of them is blue. So apparently we're stuck with yellow and red for now. Let's see if we can, let's see if we can stab ourselves in the thumb for Christmas. Well, guess what? The answer is yes. Yes, we can. See if we can get this off. That ain't looking so good. That does not want to come out of there. And I don't want to tear this to the point where I can't get it. So for now it can just stay. So the specs on this are 110 megahertz, 1 gigasample per second, rise time 1.7 nanoseconds, DC gain accuracy plus or minus 3%, horizontal scale 2 nanoseconds to 1,000 seconds per division, and vertical resolution is 8 bits. Maximum voltage input you can see here is 400 volts. Coupling is AC, DC, and ground. Probe attenuation 110, 100, and 1,000. Vertical sensitivity is 5 millivolts per division to 5 volts per division at input. Channel isolation is 50 hertz, 100 to 1, 10 megahertz, 40 to 1, with an input impedance of 1 mega ohm plus or minus 2% in parallel with a 20 picofarad capacitor on your probe. Triggers on edge and video, auto, normal, single. Trigger level plus or minus 5 divisions from screen center. Video trigger record length is 10K. Interpolation is sin X upon X. Sample rate accuracy is plus or minus 100 parts per million with, again, vertical sensitivity at 5 millivolts to 5 volts per division. Our measurement, we have delta V, delta T, automatic measurements including VPP, V average, RMS, frequency period, Vmax, Vmin, Vtop, Vbase, width, overshoot, pre-shoot, rise time, fall time, plus width, plus duty, minus duty, delay A to B, delay B to A, area and cycle area. It'll store 16 waveforms and it runs on 15 watts of power. So let's bring in one of the probes here. And we'll hook it up and compensate it. This says 5 volts. Peak to peak. So we'll hit the auto set button. And we'll grab our probe compensation tool. You don't want to use a regular screwdriver for this. You know, you definitely want to use something that is isolated. And you can see right now we are undershooting. So we want to get in there and even them out so that we're looking pretty even. And that's looking pretty good to me. Yeah, not bad at all. So we are on 1 volt per division. Let's see if we can bring in the gradical. Display, gradical, there we go. Can you guys see that better? I hope so. Let me turn off the internal light here in the camera. And we'll zoom in a little bit. So, let's see. Measure. Channel 1. Frequency. And channel 1 frequency. Trying to figure out how to do this because I have no manual. Measure channel 1 frequency. There we go. So now we have our frequency at 1 kilohertz. And if we want to bring in something else, like for instance, peak to peak, we just simply hit the add. So we're at 5 volts peak to peak. RMS, max, min, top, base, amplitude, overshoot, pre-shoot, rise time, fall time, pulse width, duty cycle. Let's add a duty cycle. As you can see, we're at 49%. Pulse counts, rise edge count, fall edge count area. This is very nice. Cycle area. Yeah. Very nice indeed. Okay. Let's have a look at something else. Okay, so I have hooked up the PP1K PWM and pulse generator. It's at 150 kilohertz, which you can see there is reading 151.5. Let's bring it down a bit. Let's go to come on. There. 25.5. We're getting 25.58, which doesn't look too bad. We're at 50% duty cycle, and you can see our duty cycle there is 50. Let's bring it down. Now we're at 28%. Show me 29. Take it up. 76. Show me 76.5. It's not great, but it's okay. Okay, this is interesting. Oh, that's why. Take that back down. So right around 50%. And we'll drop this way down. And we'll just and you can see we're getting 31 hertz. Take it up to 100 here. Wrong one. There we go. 100.4. So it seems to be very nice, relatively accurate, looking pretty good. Let's see what we got under math. Type. Oh, okay, we got FFT or just standard math. You want to turn it off, right? Yep. All right, let's have a look at our different functions over here. We'll start with cursor. We have type voltage or time and voltage together. And they're adjustable A, B, or together at A and B. So that's nice. Under acquire, we have our sample mode, peak detect, average, sample. Type vector, persistence off, mode as X, Y, or X over time, counter on, and that is our hardware frequency counter, which I want to usually keep on all the time. Good. Then again, under measure, we have our measurements here, and then we can do our show all the measurements there as well, which is really nice. Channel 1, channel 2, and off. Turn off channel 2. I don't know why it's on. We have run stop. We have auto set. And then we have our utility. We have our functions, backlight, graticule, menu time. Function, what can we adjust? Self-cal default, probe channel. We can save, type, wave, type configure, image, source, all, channel 1, object, on, wave 0, next page, store it internally, format, binary, that's all it has, storage, and that's how you save it. So, very cool. Very cool indeed. So what should we do next? Take it apart? I agree. So it looks like we have 2 screws here, 2 here. There's a hole there. Hopefully there's no screw. And it looks like 2 behind the handle. So let me get these out. These screws are not even particularly tight. Which is nice for taking things apart. Not so great for longevity, if you know what I mean. All the screws are out and they are all exactly the same size. So there's the inside of our case. And yeah, there is no fan. Let me take a look here. You can see the power supply board there very easily. Here's our front end. It's underneath this can. You can see here where the can has been soldered, and here it's bent out for some reason. The power supply ground, which for some reason is a black wire, and yes, I know it is the ground, and I'll show you why. Meter. Meter. Continuity. You hear that? So center pin, that's the ground pin. There you go. So I don't know why they use the black wire for ground. That should be green or green and yellow, but it isn't. So we've got 2 ICs underneath heat sinks, which I'm not going to remove. Everything seems to be Celastic down. We've got a Texas Instruments processor there, a couple RAM chips. This big filter cap is CHMEC. Yeah, I never heard of that. One of these little green ones. Same thing, CHMEC. So it looks like we have two boards here. You can see they're connected with a little ribbon cable. This is definitely built down to a price. You can see the board is SDS 1102 version 1.2, 2018. That would be what, August 27th. Looking at the power supply here, it says PCB T57. Like a simple switch mode power supply. Nothing particularly special about it, although I don't really see any anti-tracking slots, but you know, what do you expect? What do you expect for $219? Okay, so I've got a 10 megahertz can crystal here. Got set up with the probe. Let's see what we get. You can see there 10 megahertz. Has no problem reading that signal whatsoever. So we'll take that one out and we'll bring in the 100 megahertz, which should, you know, obviously it's going to be below its 3 dB point, but we'll see what happens. Okay. Probe down in there. $100 megahertz. No problem. Let's swap one more out. We'll go down to the low end. We'll put in a 1 megahertz. And we'll see what we get. There's 1 megahertz. I like using these cans. You know what the frequency is going to be. I mean, they're pretty solid. There we go. And we got 1.00003, or we'll call that 1 megahertz. So, what do I think? I think it's an excellent entry-level scope. 2-channel, I don't know why 110 megahertz, 100 megahertz, 1 gig of sample per second. It's got FFT. It's got all the measurements you could need. I mean, what's it missing? So where's the trigger menu? You don't have a lot of trigger types. Edge, video. But other than that, for $219, I think it's a good deal. I think it rivals the Handtech DSO 5102P, which is what I've recommended for the last 3 years for an entry-level scope. I think, you know, given some time to play with this one, I think this is definitely going to take over. Like I said, at $219. I bought this from Amazon at $219 last week. As I look today, they don't have any. What they do have is the 1202X, which is the 200 megahertz version. And guess what? It's only $20 more than the Handtech DSO 5102P, which is $249. It's $269. So I mean, geez, for an extra $200 or for an extra $20, you get another 100 megahertz, which is, you know, excellent if you need it. I will put a link to these guys in the description down below, and I will definitely add this to my store. I like this scope a lot. It's built to a price point, but it does the job well. It's incredibly small and light, fits on the bench very well. So, that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Feel free to comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Big thanks to all you guys for watching. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. Whatever it is you celebrate. Peace.